Hi, this is Chuck Oliver. Welcome to this week's Hidden Wealth Solution Review. Well, would you and your family like to learn how to opt out of the tax system forever? Would you like to learn how, in a year like last year, where most people lost 20 to 25%, how our clients were actually able to earn a safer yield at over 18% with an up to 100% tax deduction? So I want to talk to you about how to avoid the market traps and the tax traps and what you can do. Because right now, those are the two greatest threats that we're seeing with clients we're meeting with from all around this country from ages 50 to 80, saying, what do we do? What can we do? What should we do? And let me teach you what you can avoid and then learn what you can do at retirementprotected.com. That's retirementprotected.com. It's a complimentary educational wealth protection webinar I'll be teaching this coming Tuesday. The spaces, it's complimentary, but the spaces fill up quickly. People are really looking for direction here, folks, and I want to provide that for you. So let's talk about some of the information that just came out this particular week. Now, over this last week or two, technically, because a lot of people, I think, missed it. First off, you saw that the Fed, because they decided only to raise 0.25%, got cheered on by the market, and the market rallied. But that only a few days later, we came out with the employment rate, right? The U.S. added 517,000 jobs, stunning growth despite widespread layoffs. So what's going on? How does the Fed and these Fed chairs have any clue of what's going on when they say they're curbing inflation? They told us it was transitory at first, which is meaning temporary. It's clearly anything but temporary. And folks, it's going to be here with us a while. And it's eroding like crazy. In fact, it's robbing us and stealing from us. I want you to think about this stat. Between 2020 and 2021, over half of every dollar in circulation today in our economy came out because of what the stimulus that got pumped in, $10 trillion between 2020 and 2021, one of every $2 in just the last few years. Now, that wreaks havoc, obviously, on the cost of goods and the things we pay. What's that got to do with taxes, Chuck? What's that got to do with the market? It has everything to do with taxes in the market. When you're laying off this many people, claiming that you're creating this many jobs, this is all political posturing. We all know it. The harsh reality is we know people are hurting. Credit card debt is at an all-time high. Savings is at an all-time low. Here's the reality. When these earning reports are coming in worse because the cost, right, for companies to operate is becoming more expensive, they start laying off people and their earnings are worse because they're not growing and expanding. When you put fewer people on the payroll or have to take people off, they're not paying into Social Security and they're not contributing towards taxes or commerce, which means companies aren't going to be as profitable, which means our retirement accounts aren't going to grow as much. And some of us are going to have to start covering the tax as it relates for fewer and fewer tax dollars being collected, both Social Security threat and income tax threat. Well, folks, here's a couple other startling stats to kind of give you. The number one institutional investor, he's the CIO, with Morgan Stanley. He said, we're not biting on this rally. He said, investors are falling for this trap again. In fact, he said, the last two times our current models were at these levels, the S&P fell by 34 to 49%. So the question becomes, can you afford to lose a third to 50% of what you've worked so hard for? Of course not. Well, it doesn't get a whole lot prettier than that, folks. The gross domestic product, right? That's a measure of the growth of our economy for 2022 came back at a paltry 2.1%. Now, while the White House, this is by Larry Kudlow on Fox Business, while the White House was quick to take credit for the state of the nation's economy, they may want to think twice. Here's why. The most troubling of this report was that real disposable income fell over $1 trillion in 2022. Folks, when people aren't spending, companies aren't as profitable. And when they're not spending, they're not generating taxes. So companies have to then raise their prices, right, to stay in business. And it's just a domino effect. But listen to this. For context, Larry says, this is the second largest percentage drop in real disposable income ever, behind only 1932, which was the year of the Great Depression. Ever, folks, ever. Here's the opportunity. Go to retirementprotected.com. That's retirementprotected.com. And I'm going to give you a couple things that you can do to protect yourself from this head fake market trap and to get yourself out of the tax system and away from this tax trap. One strategy that provides an up to 100% tax deduction that a number of our clients, many of your family and friends have taken advantage of, that goes against your adjusted gross income. And because many of the clients that we serve have been strong savers, this is who benefits the most in IRAs and 401ks, whether you're still contributing and working or whether you're now looking to draw, or the government has you at an age now that they're forcing you to take money out, you can get yourself untaxed. This strategy allows, because if you Roth convert IRA and get it out of the tax system to Roth IRA, that increases your taxable income. But the deduction, not just for the deduction, by the way, but the deduction helps offset, with the right strategy, dollar for dollar of what you're converting. Because even though your taxable income report's higher, the deduction can be used to offset it or drastically reduce it. Now, I want you to think about your thinking. That same strategy not only stayed ahead of inflation, did over 18% last year. Many people are projecting that particular segment of our economy, especially, is not only an inflation hedge, but it's also a way to get a strong tax deduction, arguably one of the strongest in the entire tax code, and be able to give a predictable return with things that we all use daily in the form of energy. Now, you've got to qualify, but let me teach you this Tuesday, because our clients not only got money, made money where most people lost money last year, they also got a major tax deduction. And while their account values were down, right, sadly, as we met them, their accounts were down. Most people, according to Fidelity, lost about 22.9% last year in their 401ks alone. We've seen a lot of people have lost as much or more than that. They were able to move that out and now make up for lost time and lost money by moving a smaller balance at a lesser tax, so they could move more out of the tax system forever, to now be able to rebound and have upside. And I'll teach you quickly what indexing is this Tuesday, without downside, earning an over double-digit return, taking no downside risk, but also diversifying with the tax offset to be able to get a predictable return that stays ahead of inflation that's been 18, 21% just over the last 12 to 24 months. And you can learn to do the same. Don't follow the crowd, folks. You work hard for your money. Avoid the traps, the market trap, the tax trap. The time to do it is now. Learn where you can be and what you can do and where you can be in 2023. RetirementProtected.com, retirementprotected.com.